Here we are. Our next speaker is a political activist and candidate for the 2018 House of Representatives in Texas. He's worked in state, local, and congressional campaigns and worked to implement HERO, which is a great feat. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Dylan Forbis.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who's here tonight. My name is Dylan Forbis, and my pronouns are he, him, his. I prepared a speech today that was on the concept of being in the room. Being in the room when it comes to your employment, being in the room when it comes to being politically active, being in the room when it comes to knowing who you are at all times. And that includes when it's looking back on our history. That includes looking at where we are now and where we want to be. But instead, I want to talk about this room. I want to talk about the Unity Banquet. Because in this room, we're surrounded with people who have experienced loss. We're surrounded with people that have experienced adversities and overcome them. And we're surrounded by family. I love coming to the Unity Banquet. Every year, it's like a giant family reunion. And I want to thank every single community member who comes and opens this space to our allies, because this space is ours. In this room, I'm fortunate enough to see people who use male pronouns on me for the first time when I showed up in 2011 to help build the trans float for the parade. In this room, I'm surrounded with people that were there for me when I was fired for being transgender while I was in the union. It was at the first Unity Banquet I went to that Marty Ebel with the EEOC said, "I've got your back." And because of the Unity Banquet, I knew where to go and I knew who to turn to. But when I went, the answers weren't there. But you know who was there? The people in this room. When we experience loss, it's the ones in this room who are supporting us. There are people in this room who remember seeing whites-only sinks and water fountains. There are people in this room that remember more than half of their friends dying during the AIDS epidemic. And actively, every single one of us in this room are living through a real epidemic of Black trans women being murdered every single day. It is in this room where we get to come out and we get to enjoy dressing up and seeing each other, and knowing that in this room, those realities that are outside of these walls, let's pick them up at the end of the night. Let's enjoy the fact that in this room, we're here with each other, and we know our history comes with us. And we know that that is where when I started my transition, I like to say I was a self-made man. But it's not true. I'm Dylan Forbis today because of everybody in this room who put out their hand for me, who blazed that trail before I got here, who took the time to have a meeting and raised a hand and said, point of information, shouldn't we have transgender people in this room? Because when we are in these rooms, we can give each other the respect that we might not get out there. We can give each other the dignity that we might not get out there. Because I can guarantee you, when I was working in construction, I didn't wear this suit. And when I'm in other spaces, I don't look like this. I just look like a normal person. But having that level of respect and being able to treat each other fairly, that's what's important to me. And that's something that we do continuously in this room. I want to thank, of course, the organizers and the volunteers that put this together. Because every single one of those bags was stuffed, every detail down to making this whole thing happen, it took time. And they've been doing this for years and years and years. And I've been very fortunate enough to be coming to this banquet for years to see and hear the history about the Unity Banquet. But when I say we're a family, I mean that so much. Because in this room, there's people I've gotten in fights with, just like I would fight with family. In this room, because you know what? We are fighters. Am I right? Yeah! We are fighters. And we're gonna fight legislation, and sometimes we're gonna fight each other just as hard. But just like family, we learn how to grow and we learn how to forgive each other because we love each other. And that's an important part. But it was in this room in 2017 when Judge Phyllis Fry said, "Why aren't you running for something? Why aren't you running for something? Why aren't you running for something?" And my spouse, Jacinda, she gave me the elbow. And in February of 2017, I was arrested. And it was a horribly dehumanizing experience. I was going to pick up one of my last checks that I was expecting from a job right after we moved. And it was on Day Without an Immigrant. And I'm driving my little Honda. And I had a ticket that I hadn't paid for failure to maintain insurance because I was in between jobs, something that a lot of us can probably relate to, and I was taken to jail. Later that month, I was waiting to hear about a top surgery scholarship that I was a finalist for, and I found out that I didn't get the scholarship. 2017 was a really hard year for me, but for a lot of us, it doesn't change. It feels like we're never gonna get ahead. It feels like our tires are spinning in the mud. But when we're in this room and we see the magnificence and the grace and the love and the forgiveness and the courage and the strength, it gives me what I need to have for the rest of the year, right? And it ensures that all of us are gonna have this again. Because every other day of the year, 364 days, we have our fights. And we do what we need to do. Because fighting brings growth, and pain brings things that you'll know what it feels like the next time you go in. Just like somebody said earlier about being fired for being transgender. I know what it feels like, so the next time I'm in that room, I know how to challenge it. And I say, no, you're not. Not like this. I've been here before. You might not have. I might be the first transgender person that you're trying to fire, but you're not the first person trying to fire me, right? And so, I can't express how much love and grace I'm feeling tonight. Because it's in this room that we have the opportunity to show each other the respect and the decency. I know I'm gonna see all of you again, and I hope that it's not just the next time someone's murdered. And I hope it's not just the next time someone needs help moving because they're being evicted. But if you need that, call me, I got a truck. Because we're there for each other. So I want to thank every single person in this room, whether you've got student loan debt that you're trying to pay off, whether you've recently experienced a loss of a job, whether you've been in that room where your parents have told you you're going to not be a part of the family anymore, whether you've been in that room where you've had to find out that you don't qualify for the loan that you need to continue your transition. What's most important is that we have this community, and we'll get there. Crowdsourcing isn't anything new for our community. No, no, no. I've shared a drag stage many a time with Lana Blake and many others here. Because when we have a challenge, when we face adversity, whether it's money, whether it's an epidemic, whether it's fighting for equal rights through an equal rights ordinance, whether it's getting our elected officials in the Texas House to do their job, whether it's getting candidates who are running for Houston City Council to promise that they're going to help us and help our community, we don't shy away from that. Do you? No, not a single one of us. Because who's ready to fight? Who's ready to fight? Who's ready to fight? I will have your back. I know you've got mine. And so again, when it comes to being in these spaces, know that every single one of you, transgender, gender nonconforming, intersex, two-spirit, this is your space, and own it. Because these tables are set for you. We stand on the shoulders of giants who fought for us. And we're gonna make sure that every single person after us has it so much better. So I want to thank you for the Unity Banquet for asking me to speak. I want to thank every single one of you who has been there for me in any capacity. I'm a very sensitive person, and I can guarantee that one of you has passed my mind, at least in the last year. And so feel free to reach out. I'm no longer in the Houston area. Me and my wife moved to Pearland, Brazoria County. There's a lot of work happening in these areas. And Harris County, I'm not gonna blow y'all up too much, but y'all had 7 candidates running for one race last year, okay? There's a lot of people trying to do some good work outside of Harris. Thank you to the GLBT caucus for the endorsements that they do, because it makes such a large impact on those counties that touch Harris. But we need your help, and we're there. And we're making a community for everybody. Thank y'all so much. My name's Dylan Forbis. Please reach out. Thank you.
You're good for Dylan Forbis.